Hey everyone, this is Victor Pertz from Evolve Tech. Today I'm going to be showing you my workflow onto importing photos from my camera and editing them using the iPad into Affinity Photo. I hope this workflow is useful for you. I find it's the fastest I have come around in the last years of photo shooting. As a disclaimer, I have to say I'm not going to go through the part of actually shooting the photos, which is arguably the most important part of all, but I leave that for other tutorials. Today we're going to be taking just a part from developing the raw photo onto Affinity Photo, and yeah, I hope this is useful for you. So I'm going to start with 3 recommendations when shooting the photos to make sure your results look as good as possible. First one is shoot as much as possible, as many times as possible, and then you can select it afterwards. If you miss one shot on the event, then solving it afterwards is going to be a pain if it can be solved. If you shoot a lot of pictures, then yeah, it's going to be a pain selecting between them, but you can select and you can always do that afterwards. Second one is to shoot raw. That way you get as much detail, as much information as possible at the moment of shooting, and then you can work and downsize it afterwards. That way you make sure that if you have to do any modifications afterward, you still have all the information on the file. And the third one is to do as much on the picture as possible, on the photo taking moment, so that you have to edit as less as possible in the end. The thing is that when you are editing, you are introducing artificial modifications to the picture, and if you add too many of them, then the picture is not going to be looking natural. Instead, if you get to do everything in the set, so with the lighting, working with the positions, with the bokeh, depth of field, and so on and so forth, then you're going to be needing a lot less modifications afterwards, and that way the photo is going to look much more natural. Okay, so now let's go on with the editing. So the first step I do is just importing the photo and doing some minimal modifications I do in the start, such as exposure, such as a little color touches. And I have done this actually using Adobe Lightroom. So I imported a batch of pictures from which I have selected the best, which I want to modify. So as you can see, I applied exactly what I told you to do with the picture, so I tried to make it as good as possible in the camera itself. So as you can see, for most uses this would be a perfect picture, but just for illustrative purposes, I'm going to show you what steps I follow. So after doing the base modifications, which you can do here as well, such as modifying color, exposure, and so on, the main thing I do is removing imperfections for the picture. To remove the imperfections, you have to click here into the stamp tool and go to Inpainting Brush. Inpainting Brush, basically what it does is the image fill you have in Photoshop, so you select a subject in the picture and you can delete that subject. In this case, if there's something like this stuff here that bothers you in the picture, you can just delete it. You can adjust the size of the brush here, as you can see, and you can just select it and boom, it's gone. It's that easy. It's that easy. And you can select another things that you don't want to be seen in the picture because they draw the attention into other places, except for the model in this case. So you can just delete them and just leave what's important in the picture like this. It's that easy. And what I do is basically I try to remove the main imperfections of the skin. In this case, for example, we can see a bruise here. It's a small one and you wouldn't even realize, but we're going to do it good. Let's do it good, right? So you can just select it, boom, gone. And you can also do this kind of things on the skin, so you can try to make it as clear as possible. We are going to be dealing with the skin in a minute, but as you can see, it's really not much you have to do at the moment, and it's that easy. If you're doing a portrait, then there's going to be more stuff to do in terms of skin and so on, but for now this is more than enough for us. We can deal with the last things here and boom, we go, we're done. So the second step I do is basically I apply a blur to try to give that silky skin look. So in this case, I don't like modifying people much because I believe in the beauty of a person, but I just try to focus attention onto what you want to be focused on the picture, which in this case is her. So what we're going to do is just duplicate the layer. So you can go here, click duplicate, and you can see we have a second layer here. So we are going to now go to filters, and we're going to look for bilateral blur. So you can see it's here, and once applied you can see that the skin becomes super soft, super soft. Okay, so let's hit apply onto the bilateral blur, and now it's going to be calculating. And what we can do right now is go to the layers and apply a mask to this layer, the one we applied the bilateral blur in. Let's apply the mask. Let's get into the mask. Let's click twice so that the mask is going to become black. There you go. So that right now is applying nothing out of the mask. And what we can do right now is go to the paintbrush, change to white, and you can see how there's some imperfections here in the skin. So we can draw, and wherever you draw, I don't know how visible it is right now, so wherever you draw is going to be kind of silky smooth. I'm just applying 50%, so you still have some margin. If you want, there's some areas that need more working, but right now there's not much we have to do, to be honest. So we can just follow onto getting that silky skin. I don't like to apply it very much because I still like some texture onto the skin. You see how easy it is. It's super easy, super fast, and you really just get that magazine-like skin in what has been like 3 minutes routine actually, just to do this. Remove imperfections, apply bilateral blur, mask, and there you go. So that's it. That's super easy. So what I do, my steps are just to import all the pictures in Lightroom, apply a batch edit, so correct color, correct light, etc. Then I just choose the best pictures out of them, the best of the best, so it's like the third selection actually, and then I just apply some imperfection correction, bilateral blur, masking, and there you go. Another step you can do is, for example, if you want to give more light, so you can do a masking job here, and for example apply some light. So you can go to exposure, you can identify it here, and you can do exactly the same thing. So apply exposure, a lot of it, and then just invert the mask, exactly the same thing we were doing a second ago. So just invert the mask, and now wherever I draw, it's going to be lighting up the person, so you can try to give a little bit more focus onto what you want people to focus. So for example, you can give a little bit more light. I'm really doing this super fast just for illustrative purposes, but we can just light her up, and then you go back to the exposure layer, and you can just leave it, for example, to something like this. You can see how she is much more illuminated right now. I think it's already giving that touch, making her pop out of the picture, and yeah, I really like the result this way. It's, as you can see, it's something really fast, really fast to do, and yeah, pictures just look awesome. So thank you for watching this video, hope you liked it. Remember, if you like it, leave a like, subscribe, and ping the notification bell icon so you don't lose any new videos. And yes, have a great one.